What if I told you that within the first 24 hours of cutting out sugar, your blood pressure starts to drop, your liver begins flushing stored fat, and your brain starts rewiring itself? No medication, no surgery, no supplements, just stopping one thing. Most people over 50 have been eating sugar every single day for decades, and most of them have no idea what it's actually doing inside their body, hour by hour, organ by organ. Today I'm going to show you exactly what happens, starting from hour 1. Stay through hour 72. That's where the results become impossible to ignore. I've spent over 25 years in internal medicine, and sugar, hidden sugar specifically, is the single most underestimated driver of inflammation, liver damage, insulin resistance, and cognitive decline in people over 50. Today, we're going hour by hour through what actually happens inside your body when you stop. The timeline is specific. The changes are measurable, and some of them begin faster than you would ever expect. Let's start at hour 1. Within the first hour of stopping sugar, your blood glucose levels begin to fall. If your body has been running on sugar for years, this drop feels uncomfortable. Irritability, mild headache, difficulty concentrating, a strong craving for something sweet. This is not weakness. This is your body doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just been trained to expect a glucose spike that isn't coming. Here's what's actually happening. Your pancreas, which has been pumping out insulin to manage constant sugar floods, finally gets a break. Insulin levels begin to fall, and when insulin falls, your body gets the first signal in possibly years to start accessing stored fat for energy instead of glucose. That signal, right there, in hour 1, is the beginning of everything that follows. The discomfort you feel in this window is not a reason to stop. It's evidence that something real is happening. By hours 3 to 6, something significant is happening in your liver, and most people have no idea their liver was even involved. Your liver is the primary processor of fructose, the sugar found in almost every processed food, fruit juice, and sweetened drink. When fructose arrives in large quantities, the liver converts it directly into fat. This is the primary mechanism behind non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which now affects 1 in 4 adults globally. When sugar stops arriving, the liver shifts gears. It begins producing ketone bodies, an alternative fuel source made from stored fat. Your brain actually runs more efficiently on ketones than on glucose, but it takes time to make the switch. In hours 3 to 6, that switch begins. Energy feels unstable. Focus comes and goes. This is the transition window, and pushing through it is the key to everything that follows. This is the part most people never hear about, and it may be the most important window in the entire timeline. Sugar drives inflammation. Every time blood glucose spikes, your body releases inflammatory cytokines, signaling molecules that trigger immune responses throughout the body. In someone eating sugar all day, this inflammatory signal never turns off. By hours 6 to 12 without sugar, inflammatory markers in the blood begin to measurably decrease. CRP, C-reactive protein, one of the most reliable markers of systemic inflammation, starts to fall. Why does this matter for people over 50 specifically? Because chronic inflammation is the underlying driver of arthritis, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and most cancers. Not the only driver, but the most consistent one. Cutting sugar is not a diet choice. For people over 50, it is an anti-inflammatory intervention with systemic effects across every organ. By the 12 to 24-hour mark, something measurable happens that surprises almost everyone. Blood pressure begins to fall. The connection between sugar and blood pressure is one of the most underappreciated in medicine. Sugar causes the kidneys to retain sodium. Sodium retention raises blood volume. Higher blood volume means higher pressure against arterial walls. This is a direct physiological mechanism, not a theory. Studies show that reducing added sugar intake produces blood pressure reductions comparable to some antihypertensive medications within days, not weeks. For people over 50 who are managing blood pressure with medication, this does not mean stop your medication. It means talk to your doctor because your numbers may change faster than expected once sugar is removed. By hour 24, the kidneys are already excreting more sodium. The arteries are under less pressure, and you haven't changed anything else. At the 24 to 48 hour mark, something happens in the brain that research only began to understand in the last decade. Dopamine receptors start to reset. Sugar activates the brain's reward system in a way that is structurally similar to addictive substances. It floods the nucleus accumbens, the brain's reward center, with dopamine. Over years of daily sugar consumption, the brain compensates by reducing dopamine receptor sensitivity. This is why people need more and more sugar to feel satisfied. Between 24 and 48 hours without sugar, those receptors begin to upregulate. They become more sensitive again. Food starts to taste different. Natural sweetness, from fruit, from vegetables, becomes detectable again. The compulsive pull toward sugar begins to weaken. This is not willpower, this is neurobiology, and it begins in under 48 hours. Hours 48 to 72 are where the majority of people who try to quit sugar give up. The cravings peak, the fatigue peaks, the irritability peaks, and then, for those who stay the course, something shifts. By hour 72, the liver's glycogen stores are substantially depleted. The body has fully committed to fat metabolism as its primary fuel source. Energy stabilizes. The afternoon crash that most people over 50 have accepted as normal disappears. Sleep quality improves measurably. Sugar disrupts slow-wave sleep, the deepest, most restorative phase. Without the late-night glucose spike and crash, the brain moves through sleep cycles more efficiently. Skin inflammation decreases. Joint stiffness, driven in part by systemic inflammation, begins to ease. Cognitive clarity improves. Hour 72 is where quitting sugar stops feeling like deprivation and starts feeling like recovery. Beyond 72 hours, the changes compound. By day 5, most people report that cravings have dropped by 50 to 70%. By day 7, blood glucose regulation has measurably improved, even without any other dietary changes. The hidden sugars are the ones that will trip you up. Bread, pasta sauces, flavored yogurt, salad dressings, protein bars, fruit juice. These are not desserts, but they drive the same insulin response. Read labels. If sugar appears in the first 3 ingredients, put it back. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. Even reducing added sugar by 50% produces measurable changes across all the systems we've discussed today. Hour 1 to 2, blood sugar drops, cravings begin. Push through. This is the signal working. Hour 3 to 6, liver shifts from fat storage to fat burning. Hour 6 to 12, inflammation markers begin to fall. Hour 12 to 24, blood pressure starts to drop as kidneys release sodium. Hour 24 to 48, brain dopamine receptors begin to reset. Hour 48 to 72, fat metabolism stabilizes, energy returns, sleep improves. Your one action today, for the next 72 hours, no added sugar. Nothing else has to change. Just that. See what happens. If this was useful, hit like. It takes 1 second and it helps this information reach more people who need it. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. I'll be breaking down what your resting heart rate is really telling you about your biological age. That number on your watch is carrying more information than most people realize. Take care of yourself. See you there.